Okay, so this video needs a bit of explanation. So for full game FCs, the Rock Band community allows importing songs on different engines as a valid way for a full game FC, because some games like Rock Band 1 have songs where it's just impossible to FC on NTSC, but if you import them to like Rock Band 2, they become a lot more feasible. Just like how for Greengrass and High Tides, you have to run the game at PAL just so the strum limit doesn't screw you over. And that's mostly the reason why imports are a thing. But with this accomplishment, everything was done on the game it was supposed to be, just like a normal full game FC would. Now, why did it take this long to full game FC this game? It came out 14 years ago. What makes it so hard? Well, there's one specific song on the game called Let There Be Rock Live, which has a 16 notes per second yellow strumming burst at the 7-minute mark of the song, which on NTSC, that's right at the strum limit. And I don't even think you can strum that either on Rock Band 1. I don't think it's possible. So unless you have a PS2 copy and can run the game through PAL, and by the way, you can't practice on PS2 or Wii because it'll just play the whole song in practice mode, so you'll probably have to run the game through an emulator and use save states. So if you want to actually practice these songs, you have to do it on PAL 360, which at the time is only available for people who live in Europe. Now you can flash it to go to PAL, but you can still brick your console by doing that, and you would need an RGH. What got me to get a PAL 360 in the first place was me getting the itch to grind Greengrass and High Tides on GH1, and then getting a 2EFC on NTSC, and I thought to myself, well, the games are region free if you're on an RGH, so why don't I get a PAL copy and boot it like that? And then sadly I found out that you can't do that. So I thought I'd make the investment to get a PAL 360 just for Rock Band, which was a pretty expensive thing to get just for one song. Then after I got my Greengrass and High Tides SC, Nuno commented on my Greengrass video and said, "At this point, Let There Be Rock Live on AC/DC is the only song in the Rock Band series that hasn't been FC'd on disc. I'd recommend trying that next since you have the means to FC it with your PAL 360. Which sounded like a good idea since I spent about $200 on a fucking console for one song, so might as well make use of that as much as I can, right? But God knows what I was about to get myself into, and let's start from the very beginning. Number 1. Let There Be Rock Live FC. I have a lot to say about this FC. This FC put me in a mental state that I did not want to be in. The song is about 8 minutes long, and about most of it is air, except for all the solos. Solo 1 is pretty tricky, but it's the easiest out of the bunch. Then solo 2 was pretty annoying. I'd get most of my runs past there though. Solos 1 and 2 weren't the worst part, but solo 3 is fucking stupid. Because the song is mostly air, you're not really as focused as you really should be. So when solo 3 comes, you're not prepared to actually focus. And since Rock Band strums and hopos aren't very different, it's really easy to mix up a strum as a hopo. Are you shitting me? I thought that was a hopo. Oh my fucking Christ.
What? The fuck? Are you fucking kidding?
God damn it. And the way the notes are placed are really awkward. And when I say most of the song is air, I truly mean that. Look at this screenshot. Those parts listed, there are no notes there whatsoever. The fun parts are just the solos, and then maybe some choruses or some verses. But after all those 3 solos, you have this chord part that is continuous for about 2 minutes. It's the same chord repetition over and over and over again. And then solo 4 just comes out of fucking nowhere. So you're not really prepared for it, and it's really easy to like lose track and then just immediately miss. The way I got past this was just to keep an eye on the score and wait till it got to around like 340k to know when it's almost coming up, and then just keep down strumming so I can hit that transition more easily. And now you have solo 4, the hardest solo of them all. So you have the trill part, which is pretty standard. It's not horrible, but it is easily chokeable if you're not paying attention. And the trill slows down too, so you gotta be really careful with that. And then that yellow strum part, which is just RNG as shit. It's almost like Trogdor. I wouldn't say as bullshit, but it's pretty close. It's pretty easy to overstrum, which in Rock Band 1, you can't tell if you're overstrumming in practice because it doesn't show the multiplier, which is extremely stupid, by the way. And you have to make sure you don't overstrum that red. You gotta kind of stop yourself and hit that chord. And then 4C comes. And this part is fucking disgusting. So the yellow strum is already bad enough, but then you have this weird, awkward hopo timing that goes on forever. And it takes 8 minutes to get to this part, by the way. Look at these misses that I've had. I've had a couple of reverse chokes, missed in the trill, then FC'd the rest, or just flat out miss in 4C. So yeah, that's one of the main reasons why nobody really wanted to attempt this song. It's fucking awful on Rock Band 1. It's even terrible on other engines too, but on Rock Band 1, it's just downright evil. I still consider it in my top 10 best FCs. That's how good of a fucking FC this is. You could really hear the relief in my voice. Finally! Fucking finally! Yes! Holy fucking shit! Oh my god, finally! Alright, number 2, Dirty Deeds. So this one wasn't awful. The first solo is a little chokeable, but if you get the tapping momentum down, you can make solo 1 extremely consistent. And the song isn't too long either, but the hardest part is definitely just at the outro, which I really enjoy how it's charted. The grind for this was actually more fun than painful. It's still a really difficult FC. It only has 2 other FCs, one by Infrareign and the second one by 6 String Cal, who got it first. But honestly, this isn't a terrible song. I really enjoyed this grind. Number 3, Whole Lotta Rosie. Absolutely fuck this song. Holy shit. Solo 2, fucking evil, dude. Solo 1 is pretty tricky, but it's not horrible to get past. But then Solo 2, oh my god. I could not make it consistent trying to use the hopos, so I just had to strum through it and hope to god I don't overstrum. And then Solo 3 has grace notes up the wazoo. So you're already nervous past Solo 2, but hopefully the game doesn't fuck you with those grace notes. And then even after Solo 3, you have the outro, which is just as chokeable. I had to take a break from the song because it was driving me nuts. I could not get a single run past Solo 2, and I just had to stop for a while. I just wanted to give up so bad. Not as bad as Let There Be Rock, but it was pretty fucking awful. I fucking hate this song. Number 4, Highway to Hell. So this one is not bad. It's still pretty hard, but at least the hardest part is at the very beginning. Those trills seem bad, but you can make them somewhat consistent. The extremely hard part, though, is the chords right after. Because they slow down at such odd increments that it's really easy to overstrum them. You kind of have to memorize the chord placements. And at the very end, there's also an outro that is pretty chokeable, so make sure to practice it a few times before you actually go for runs. Don't be like me and just go for runs and then realize, oh, there's a tricky outro that I didn't even know about, and then miss it. But other words, not too bad. Number 5. For those about to rock, we salute you. So this one isn't bad, but it's still annoying though. The song is a little long, and solos 1 and 2 are pretty annoying. Solo 1 more than 2, but the real kicker is the outro. The outro has this part where it's consistent strumming, but the speed changes in the middle of it, and it goes from slow to fast to fast again, slow, and then super slow. And since Rock Band makes the notes look very squishy and very tight, you can't really see that speed change unless you really break it down. I had to look at the video of me practicing the outro and I was like, why the fuck am I missing? And it was like, oh, there's a speed change. Surprisingly, this one took me about 30 minutes, but it could have been a whole lot worse. That outro is no joke. Even though it's slow, that strum limit makes it fucking bad. And especially Rock Band 1 strum engine, awful. Number 6. You Shook Me All Night Long. This FC really isn't that bad. It's a good song though. Solo's fun. All around pretty easy song. Number 7. T.N.T. This one really isn't that bad either. The solo is pretty hard though, if you don't know how to hit fast stuff on Rock Band 1. But if you practice it a few times, you should get it in a few tries. Number 8. High Voltage. So this one surprised me. I had a few runs up to the first solo and I couldn't get past it, but after the 4th try, I ended up getting past it, and I wasn't thinking ahead. Like, I was like, there's probably no more hard parts after this. And then Solo 2 comes out of nowhere, and I sight read FC it, and I'm like, holy fucking shit. Holy fuck. That was a sight read. But then I actually get the rest of the song, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Pretty hard song, but again, pretty fun chart. Number 9, Hell's Bells. So this song has 2 tricky solos to it, but it's not bullshit hard like some of the other ones. I think I ended up getting this one first or second try, but I made sure to practice both of them before I went for runs. All around, not a very hard FC, but it is a pretty long song. Number 10, Money Talks. This one isn't too bad either. It has a solo, but it's not really bad. I got this one second try. Pretty good song from AC/DC too. Number 11, The Jack. So this one is pretty fun, but it is really, really chokeable. The solo has a strumming part that ends on an up, and if you're not careful and don't remember that, you'll probably overstrum it. And at the very, very end of the song, there's this green-red trill. If you're just not focusing, you'll probably miss that too. But otherwise, not bad. I think I got this in 3 tries. Number 12. Jailbreak. Do I have a lot to say about this fucking song? So, not only the fact that the song is long as shit, the hardest parts are at the very end, and most of it is literally just air. There's no notes being played at a lot of the song. Like, you can probably even set your controller down, take a shit, and then come back to FC shit. I had about 4 runs up to solo 3, and each attempt is literally 8 minutes. And even after solo 3, there's still another solo you have to worry about, but it's not as chokeable, but if you're nervous, you can miss it pretty easily. I still can't get over the fact that someone thought, hey, let's have a song in the game where there's just no notes for players to play. Literally, what design of a rhythm game, right? The least fun when there's no notes to play. You're just sitting and looking at a screen. Yeah, fuck this song. Never playing this shit again. Number 13. Fire Your Guns. So this one isn't too bad either. It's got a really fun solo, but if you just practice it a few times, you'll get it in a couple of tries. It's also pretty short too, so that's a bonus. Number 14. Heatseeker. So this one's a little tricky. The solo can have really random strums, like it can be very missable if you're not paying attention, but there's this one part where it has weird funky chords. Are you— oh my fucking Christ. Which I had to downstrum all of them so I can stay consistent. But other words, it's not too bad.
Number 15.
Hell ain't a bad place to be. This one's pretty free to be honest, I got it first try. Not really much to say about this one. Solo's kind of fun though. Number 16, Back in Black. So I got this first try, but man do I love this song. This song is so fucking good from AC/DC. I would not mind playing this song again. It's actually a bop. Number 17, Shoot to Thrill. Again, I got this one first try, so it's not really all that bad, which is understandable seeing as we're at the first songs of the game now. Last but not least, number 18. Thunderstruck. So I would have gotten this first try if my CRT monitor didn't black out at the very end because my Elgato cable disconnected for a second. My fucking CRT turned off at the very end? Are you kidding me? But I ended up getting it a few tries after. This definitely is probably my favorite AC/DC song. You gotta save the best for last. The trill part's very fun, especially on Rock Band 1, and the whole song is just fun all the way through. Decent chart as well. So yeah, that's pretty much Rock Band AC/DC. This definitely is one of my favorite accomplishments that I've done, because not only the fact is it a first ever console accomplishment, it's also a first ever official game accomplishment, which getting that in 2022, it's fucking crazy. Most console first evers are already taken, unless you do the really hard shit like Chiasm, East Jesus Nowhere, or just like some really impossible shit. So the fact I was able to pull this off means a whole lot to me. I really have to give a shout out to Nuno for straying me in the right direction to get this accomplishment, because without him recommending this song, I probably would have never actually went for this. Shoutouts to Infrareign, 6-String Cal for also getting Dirty Deeds, first and second ever, and also shout out to Abby and A Wise Moose for encouraging me to go for Let There Be Rock. Thanks for watching the video guys, hope you enjoyed, I'll see you later.